Okay, if you call this meeting in order, please rise for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And no Shelley. My brain is not working. I just sent her an email. Okay. Newton Winger to tell me, no. All right, here we go.
Is he coming or he's just?
It is.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Surprise?
Here.
Ms. Pascal?
Here.
Ms. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. Farrell?
Here.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Here.
Mr. Shapiro?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Mr. Long?
I talked to him this morning. I thought he'd be here.
Mr. Basor?
Here.
And Ms. Straley's excused.
Okay. A public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act is given by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 5th, 2024. And two, emailed to the retrospective third post on January 5th, 2024. A note that Mr. Long is here. We did start on time because I get yelled at. Approval of minutes. A motion is ordered for the approval of minutes of the June 25th and July 2nd meetings submitted by the clerk as each member received copies of the same. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. I'll second that
Motion
motion.
by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Passio. All in favor?
Aye.
Items for the August 7th meeting, so next week's council meeting. Public hearings for ordinance 2413, which is the alarms. I believe that was from the police department. Ordinance 2416 is the floodplain ordinance. I think that's from the state, right? And ordinance 2417 is amendment to used car ordinance. This is the ordinance where we did allow for that classic cars on 9th Ave.
Oh, yes.
There was another ordinance for manhole covers. Is that something we want to at least discuss or maybe do first reading? Harry, I saw that email, you guys were going back and forth. Did you see that?
Yes, I talked to him about it.
Manholes, are we good? And if it's a manhole anywhere in the borough property, even though it's on a county road,
County or state.
we can still require it because it's ours,
Yes,
if they're doing road work.
if they're doing road work under agreement. So with that, Mark wrote it up. Mr. Long commented today that as long as it's within our borough limits, that we can move forward with it. So if we can get a draft done, a finalized draft for next Tuesday, that would be great.
We need a special ordinance just for the ones that are outside of borough jurisdiction. As far as the road excavation ordinance, it's specifically for the borough-owned roads.
Right, that's kind of what.
We do the manholes
Well-
outside of that road opening.
So, okay, but are they within the confines and the limits of Runnemede?
No, I think he's talking about the chapter. You're just talking about the chapter.
I can,
Excavation
sure.
defines the street as a borough-owned street.
But what we can do is, so the definitions, unless it's clearly set forth otherwise, we can make sure that this, we just put in language saying this shall apply to all manhole covers, regardless of the type of road that are located
But
within the
you're
borough.
saying the definitions hurts us a little bit.
I don't think it does, just because, remember, definitions define the terms. Otherwise, they have their commonly accepted wording. But what you can do is, as long as you make clear in your ordinance and put the wording in there that, look, even if it's a state or a county road, because we're doing this to protect our manhole covers. We have a right to do that, even if it's not located
So what are we
on
talking about?
our street.
So we're not-
That's it.
Because, the county typically doesn't do a lot of this when they redo roads. They don't usually do that
Well,
kind of stuff.
correct. And most of the times they'll come in with helper rains or they'll pave over them and everything else. And plus ours are old. We need to change them out while they're repaved.
And so we just have to be
Because a lot
aware
of-
of this and tell them when they're doing.
Yeah.
Because, DOT's doing part of Black Horse Pike. I don't think they're coming down to our way.
Not yet. But we don't, really on the DOT, on Black Horse Pike, all of our sanitary system is in the sidewalks.
Okay, so.
But it just but 41 from Black Horse Pike down to the point, we do have some on 41. So that's why we have to put the state road.
You okay with that? You think we'll get any pushback?
I'm deferring to the attorney on how to do that.
Attorney's good.
Bring it up.
Okay.
And we'll,
So you want to do a first reading, Beth, next month, at least get this done?
For the manhole?
For the manhole. Okay. Was there any other ordinance that was shooting around? That was it, right? Okay, new business for discussion.
Energy aggregation.
Oh, energy aggregation. So Dan did change from that presentation we had, where the women pointed out that if we just use a
Right.
generic term, we can actually appoint anybody to go out and see if we can get better pricing. I think we should at least amend the ordinance, so it gives us that ability, and then decide if they come to us and say, we should go out for energy aggregation right now, we just we council pass a resolution
So
authorizing
we're
them.
amending the present ordinance
Yeah, to
to
say
make it more generic.
generic, whomever council decides. And then if we pick a company, we just give a resolution saying, hey, go out and get us a price. So,
I think that's a good.
yeah, and remember, we can always say no if we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
like it. So we want to put that on
First
it?
reading too.
So first reading for that one too. So we have two first readings for those two ordinances.
So we'll be amending the aggregation ordinance.
Yeah. My new business, approval of volunteer firefighter enrollment in the Firemen's Association. I don't think that was a big deal, right? Isn't it? Does council need to pass a resolution for that, or?
I do. It's approved and signed, I think, should it?
Okay, we'll just put it on next month. Is it due at a certain time? We need to do it tonight, or?
He didn't say that.
It's probably from Pat. Why don't we put it on next month's meeting, and why don't we just do a resolution, the council permitting the mayor to sign the application for the volunteer firefighter enrollment into the Firemen's Association? I mean, is there a cost? Is that why they want us to do it?
I can
Or
find out.
is this governing body has to approve it?
I think you have to approve it.
So the governing body approves the volunteer firefighter, okay?
Yes.
Being added.
Does that sound right? Okay. Police Department new hires, SRO and crossing guard. How you doing there?
No crossing guard.
No crossing guard.
No, the SRO, Mrs. Kelly will speak about that.
Okay, we have somebody?
Get to it. Yep.
Okay. All right, we got a few resolutions. Let's see. We'll just do one at a time. Resolution 24-110 is authorization for property maintenance liens. And how many of them are there?
That's in your packet.
All right, there's only three. That's not too many. Well, one's pretty heavy. So are you talking about, Craig, are there people not cutting their grass that you think we need to be cited? Why don't you make a list? And well, because what we're trying to figure out is how, and Dan, that's what your point is. We need one person to go around and do code enforcement for that, and we need somebody separate for housing. So, I cut my grass. All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve 24-110?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Lomstein, is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Second by Ms. Passio. Roll call, please.
Ms. Passio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
And Mr. Murray?
Yes. All right, that resolution is adopted. Resolution 24-111, authorization of the sale of borough property through an online auction. This is a 2009 GMC C550 utility truck. Do you have a value?
Eggshell, egg, goose egg?
Yeah. Okay, would someone like to make a motion? Obviously, it has no value, we need to get rid of
I'll
it.
make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Passio to approve. Second by Mr. Shapiro. Roll call, please.
Ms. Passio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
And Mr. Murray?
Yes. All right, that resolution is approved. Resolution 24-112 is a resolution authorizing 6-month temporary labor position. Vincent Persichetti, 6-month temporary laborer. Someone like to make a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Passio. Roll call, please.
Ms. Passio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
And Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Aye.
All right, that resolution is adopted. Resolution 24-113 is a resolution regarding employment in the Borough of Runnemede. It's the resignation of code enforcement Buck Tuttle. His last day was July 25th. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion with regret
Thank you.
because there's going to be big shoes to fill.
Thank you.
He did a great job. I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Passio. Roll call, please.
Ms. Passio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro? And Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Aye.
Right, that resolution is adopted. We have a couple of walk-ons, nothing of huge importance. Resolution 24-114 is a resolution releasing the performance bond. This is for Cottonmouth. So basically, it's moving the bond from a performance bond to a, what is it? Maintenance bond. There was some monies that have to be paid, fees. Once they're paid, we can release it. So we're going to approve this, and then the check comes in, and then we'll release the bond.
So are they open?
No, this is just the back office stuff. This is just bonds.
This is for the site improvements, that they got constructed in accordance with the approved planning board plans.
Oh.
Now it goes on a 2-year maintenance period.
Oh, okay.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Farrell. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Shapiro. Roll call, please.
Sorry.
Ms. Paxton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes,
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
And Mr. Murray?
Yes.
6 ayes.
All right, so did we take care of all the business, right? The ordinance for the aggregate?
so the only other one was Cottonmouth, that was it? That was the only one?
There was the ordinance for aggregate. There were two things that were, make sure everybody was in agreement that we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the other. So before we move on to the rest of the meeting, I do want to just talk about court, just because it's a big issue. So obviously we have a retirement happening on August 31st. We have another retirement on September 1st. Our current deputy is going to proceed with getting her license. Her test is in November. It's only $25. She doesn't have to take any class, so she's going to move forward with that. The agreement that will be presented for next week's council approval basically takes all the costs to run this court, divides it by the amount of the tickets that are written. It's a really simple kind of formula that just takes the workload of the police department and the court workload, plugs it in, and basically says if a town has 30% of the workload, it pays 30% of the expenditures. The revenue stays with the municipality. So if the court brings in $100,000, that revenue stays with the municipality. If the expenditure is $50,000, that's the cleanest way to say it. Shelley's going over the numbers. Basically, we've been doing pretty well with sharing court with Magnolia since we did it. The only criticism that I've gotten about it is the agreement we had with Magnolia wasn't as well defined. They only paid us a flat fee to use the building. They only paid some of the hours of our employees. They didn't pay like a true percentage. This shared service that we're entering into has already been running with 4 towns. So Magnolia and us, which remember, our shared service is with Magnolia. So Magnolia is ending their shared service with us. So even though we're housing it, it was their employee that had the license. The new agreement that we're going, these other 4 towns, they've had it worked out pretty well where it's all divided. So plugging in our 2 numbers, ironically, Runnemede is the largest of all these towns when it comes to the workload.
Productivity?
Productivity.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
It doesn't mean we're the highest on the revenue, but you know, revenue and productivity can be 2 very different things. But the advantage is that the one woman who's in charge, she has her license. The other 2 women that are working over there are on their way of getting their license. Our employee would get their license. It gives a lot more opportunity. The agreement is basically a 1-year agreement. It's 3 months, 15-month agreement. It's the end of this year. So court would be more likely on Tuesday, only because of logistics. But starting in January, court would move to Thursday, and all the courts would happen on one day. So in the morning, when they issue, come to court, it'll say what time. So if you have to be in court at 9 o'clock for Laurel Springs, 10 o'clock for Pinecone, 11 o'clock for Runnemede, or something to that effect. What it does do, and I hope there's no objections to this, is the way to save money, and nobody likes hearing this, is to eliminate positions. And the positions that would be eliminated are not the workers, but we would only have 1 judge. So 1 judge would run the entire court. All day. And then a backup judge, or a secondary judge, to work it out. 1 prosecutor with a backup prosecutor, 1 public defender with a backup, and so forth. Court security can be worked out by each police department, how they want to do it. There's a formula, and then there's a part-time employee, which was Alice. So there is an open position now for 1,200 hours. I think they figured, George is the mayor of Summerdale, he figured that they needed 1,200 hours of a part-time person to work courts.
So all the courts that we're talking about will be held here on Tuesday,
For now,
starting at 9, going to 4 or 5.
depending.
And the one judge will hear all the courts.
Yeah. So this way, there's no stopping, it just goes.
Right.
You know, so all these people coming from all these different areas. Now remember, people who come to Runnemede Court aren't necessarily from Runnemede.
No.
They're coming from all over, so even people who are getting a ticket in Pine Hill. So where they're going is really irrelevant. You know, I would think that the police department in our town is considered to residents of our town, but that may not be in other towns. So each town does their own thing. So court is really for people who break the law. Right, Dan? I mean, you work at it. You know, we're not here to really be, it's just a function that we're required to do at this point. The Attorney General's office, the Office of Administrative
Well, most
Courts,
of it is done on Zoom, am I correct?
None
Zoom
more.
is only a portion of it.
The second court date of every month is Zoom.
Yeah.
The first one's in person.
Yeah, it's probably about a quarter. Yeah, Zoom, I think is the right rate.
Zoom's down to about a quarter. That's exactly right. There's going to be basically 1 court a week. Starting in January, it's 1 court a week, and then I think there's one Zoom a month or something. maybe
Yeah, it's
2
one a
Zooms
month.
One a month. With this new agreement?
No, that would Runnemede.
No, the new agreement.
I don't know,
It might be
know.
1 or 2.
Nick, can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Well, will I be able to pick the time that I want my court? Will I have a say in that or no?
I think we could talk about it.
Okay.
I think that,
Everything, in this kind of agreement, everything is up for discussion.
yeah, I mean,
It's important to me.
yeah, and I think that was already
For
discussed.
reasons.
That we have personnel, and I think, once again, you and the other chiefs, the court administrators, remember, these court administrators work for us.
Yeah.
So even though there's, Somerdale pays them, they're still getting 30% of their paycheck is coming from the Borough of Runnemede. Because we're, you know, all the expenses go in a bucket, and then we pay. So even though they're not technically Runnemede employees, they're being paid by us. So it's like any other agreement, it's an agreement. We have the right to go in and out of it and things like that.
And 1 year?
It's not a long time, it's a good time to figure it out.
It's a good time to figure it out and to tweak it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of moving parts here.
Well, now, we are
There are a
compensated.
lot of moving
There are.
parts.
So because we're the housing municipality, we are compensated for that. It's about $25,000, which is a substantial amount of money. To give it in perspective, we were only getting $6,000 from Magnolia. Now, you know, there were some arguments, you know, how much, you know, a full day court versus a couple of partial courts, things like that. And, you know, there's still, I think the mayor of Somerdale also, there's some contingencies in there. If everyone remembers, we've had some issues where things maybe got damaged and stuff like that. We have to figure that out. There's some questions about postage. You know, we're going to require that the administrators have their own post-marking machine. Right now, we use, the borough has one,
Yeah.
but this is a larger entity. We found out that it's less than what, $50 a month?
Yeah, it's like $7 a town.
Yeah, $7 a town, it's $50.
Yeah.
They'll have their own machine, they can generate their own mail. But I will say some things that are interesting, like Haddonfield is an interesting town. They had 6,900 parking tickets, but every single one was now done electronically, and not one person disputed their parking ticket. And if they did dispute it, say it was, and the example was someone who has a handicap sticker, they forgot to put the hanger up, the placard up. They could scan it, if you can believe that, send it to the court, and the court would then dismiss the ticket.
Yeah, they have people walk around with the machines,
Yeah.
write your tickets all day.
6,900.
Yeah.
So even though there are a lot of work, it's not a lot of people in the courtroom, mostly parking tickets. There was some suggestion about having a DUI court. Well, one of the difficulties, and I don't really believe this too much, we're doing a shared court, where we're just keeping our money and just splitting the cost. But we have 6 sets of books. Runnemede will have its own checkbook, its own books. What a joint court is, and this has been done more in North Jersey than down here, you'd have one checkbook. Now that's different, because you're married at that point. There's no, you know, this is dating, you know, this shared agreement. And you have one is married. The only disadvantage is the DUI court. DUI money comes from the state. They won't allow us to parse that, to have a DUI court. You know, see, I don't understand it much. You guys might understand it more. DUI comes funding through some kind of fund from the state.
Yeah.
So if we do have a DUI court, there's some logistical issues with that. There was some suggestions from the judge to have a specific court just for DUI. Did we used to do that? Did we do that sometimes?
We've done in the past 15
Yeah.
years ago.
It's been years, yeah. So what you guys, the police chiefs, you guys can talk more about if there's an issue with that. But hopefully, is there any other questions about this? There isn't. There is going to be a savings. We don't know what the savings is going to be. Because one of the problems we're having is, and Dan in finance, and I know we looked at it a few months ago, the court revenue, when Martha was here, if everybody remembers, the court revenue was over $200,000 back in 08, 09. I think we were at 40 grand 6 months into the year. So we've lost more than 50% of our revenue is down. And a lot of it has to do with the changing of the laws, the not being able to go after people for just monetary stuff. So, court is more for, I don't even know, what do you say it's for? I don't even know what it's for, really.
You don't collect money, so it doesn't,
Yeah.
you're not collecting money.
I mean, maybe it's an inconvenience. We're not sending people to jail really unless it's a violent crime. So all the towns are running into this problem. It's one of the reasons Summerdale reached out to us in Magnolia was because they actually were losing money with 4 towns. And so they're trying to kind of just stop the bleeding by having large enough, they were too small, and we're actually, by bringing us in, I think we're going to be at a point where hopefully we'll find a nice equilibrium, that the revenue and
Now,
expenses.
the staff, you were talking about our staff.
Yeah.
How many more people will be working here then?
So currently we have 3.
Yeah.
Now we'll have 4.
Just one
I
more
believe
person.
one more, but it'll be 4 full-timers, and then 1 part-timer who'll come in on court days and stuff like that. Is that correct? There's usually somebody who comes in. I hate to keep going to you, but I know you spend a lot of time in court.
Yeah, but he did it.
And-
But my thinking is, if all these towns are going to be sharing this with us, we're not going to have their personnel here?
So remember, the 4 towns that are already doing this have already shared their employees at this point with Summerdale. So we're just kind of merging with those 4 towns already. Us in Magnolia have already been sharing for 3 years.
Well, they're not in it anymore.
But we're sort of in it together. So Kathy was their employee. Teresa and Alice are our employees. With Kathy retiring, we have this hole. With Alice retiring, we have this void. So the Summerdale employees plus our employee, we just have to find 1 more part-time.
Mrs. Kelly, what happens is Magnolia, when they come over here, they send police officers over here, and they do a really good job with their security. They don't even bother any of us. I say hi to them when I walk by, but they do a great job. It works well.
Yeah, so security's not been an issue. Personnel's not been an issue. If anything, by sharing personnel, there's more
Cutting
people.
costs,
Yeah,
definitely cutting costs.
and then the office is never going to be closed. Remember, the office used to be closed a lot. It
Yeah.
never closes now with the amount of personnel we have. Now, obviously, the court's doing a better job getting people to go online and pay tickets online. I think that's made a big difference. The electronic tickets, our department's doing a great job with it, right? So all the other departments are being forced to kind of do it. And, the only thing I'll say is I'm glad that we're stepping up to do this. I think it's going to help us financially. Is it going to maybe hurt us? We'll find out from Harry, in a year, and the other personnel, and just kind of come here. On certain days, it might be more difficult on some days, but you evolve. It's like knowing not to get on 42 at 5 o'clock.
Should we leave time in between each session for parking?
That's not so right now, we're going to start, the judge and the court staff are going to try to schedule things to kind of, I think, have a flow. They're going to try to figure this out. I mean, I think there might be there's going to be a learning curve. You're right, there might be.
And also, just from the optics of the court being filled all day long, get the word out that this is a shared service in our 4 other towns.
Well, I think we could do,
Because
we could promote that.
I can see Facebook lighting up, saying, oh, our courts are busy. What's
Well,
going on in this town?
I think what we can do is we can promote that. I think all the police departments can promote that. I think that we can promote that and say that we're all doing this to try to help each other out. I hear you. I think you're right. People could think, why is that? And you're right, we're going to have to get the word out that on this Thursday, it's going to be busy. And be aware of that. But we'll see. I know that the judge that they've interviewed, you guys are more probably familiar with it.
Oh, Trey Bosch is not going to be our judge?
Well, no, will not be Trey.
Can we,
Yeah.
I think we gotta be careful on what we talk about here.
Okay. So the judge is picked by the shared service.
It's all subject to negotiation, which
Yes.
we can't discuss right now publicly.
There you go. So the picking of the judges and stuff, there's going to be one with a backup, like I said earlier. But from what I'm hearing, The idea is to pick a judge that's going to move through things very quickly and get things done and work with the departments and the staff. So hopefully it all works out. And remember, everything is, like Dan said, it's a negotiation, it's a learning. We can figure things out, we can move things around.
And it's for only 1 year, so
Well,
let's give it a shot.
We'll see. It should work out. Anything else? Okay, everybody good on court? Because I know you've only heard a little bit about this over the past few months.
Maybe some days try to steer people away from coming here when the court is in session, like construction office,
Well,
type of thing.
one of the things I'll tell you that I know I'm going to speak for the clerk. The clerk's office has been working very hard to put fillable PDFs online. The idea here is we want people to be able to get things off the website, download forms, fill the forms out, pay online. The cost of a stamp and mailing something is almost equal to our little convenience fee for things like, so we're almost to a point where, yes,
I was gonna say, I can't speak for construction, but for our office, unless it's sewer or tax being due, we don't have a whole lot of foot traffic for like miscellaneous things. Most people are calling and then coming in, that sort of thing. It's not like we have a line for the other stuff. But when it is tax time, my biggest concern always would be the seniors, because they're the ones that like to come in and pay. But otherwise, we're not like, we don't have like 100 people coming in.
and I think one thing that the borough's lacking, I've been criticized for, is we need a little more signage. So I think the rear parking lot needs to be identified and maybe push people towards the rear parking lot for court, the front lot for more business, but also simultaneously I'm being pushed to call this a public parking area.
Yeah.
So not only are we trying to do our own business, we're also trying to have spots for everybody else, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Remember, if court's done in the daytime, which I think the chief and all the other chiefs would probably prefer daytime court for the convenience of the officers, then the borough closes, and who cares who parks in our parking lot after 5 if they want to go to a restaurant or go
Which I have done. I've parked there after 5.
Yeah, so I think we will have to put a sign up that says, the Runnemede Police Department and court in the back lot. We've talked about it for years, we're just gonna have to get it, I gotta get it done, and get that done. So things are constantly
You know
changing.
what you're signing, that's what I was thinking.
I'm not allowed to do it, it would be an ethics violation. I don't wanna pay that $25.
Nick, is there going to be any kind of meeting before we go live?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the chiefs, Winters is taking a real big step on this, if you wanna touch base with him. Even though the Chief Winters is from Pine Hill.
He's our
But
president.
for some reason, he's the real push for this shared court. He's very tight with Summerdale. He's really involved. I'm hearing his name more than I'm hearing the Summerdale chief's name, because I guess, I have no idea why, because Pine Hill's bigger. Pine Hill's similar to us in size.
Well, they do Pine Valley now, so there's a lot of.
A lot of stuff in Pine Valley.
Jaywalking deer over there and
Yeah.
stuff, a lot of tickets.
But, I did have an opportunity to talk to our staff today and to kind of make them understand that Runnemede is still in the court business. We're not getting out of the court business.
Right.
We're just sharing our resources.
It's nice
Things
work.
like that. Yeah. So
When
we'll see.
they were the 14s that together.
Yeah, so
where did
Magdalene
they
and
go
us-
their court?
Summerdale.
Oh,
But when Summerdale came and saw our facility, and if anybody's been to Summerdale, this place is double the size of Summerdale's court. The flow, even though having all these doors seems difficult, it's actually nice to have several doors, because we can push people to a certain door for security reasons and things like that. So the front office, even though we have signage, we used to push people towards the court door.
okay.
So yeah, it was Summerdale that was housing.
How about that?
Okay, so let's do our committee reports. Finance, Mr. Murray, what's going on?
Well, I'll start with, nothing to do with finance, but I'll start with our fish stocking application has been submitted to the state, and that's going forward. I somehow fell on my lap, so it looks like we're trying to put bass
I think
in
Mr.
there.
Murray's become the new Mr. Ranieri.
Yeah. We're trying to put bass in there and move those, so they have the permit, the application up to the state, so we're gonna be moving forward with that. The Quinta, I know Shelley has, and you can help me with this, Mayor, I know Shelley has basically finalized her end of the agreement.
So the finance side is pretty much squared away between the assessment and the added assessment value. I think the developer and finance numbers balance out. question we're down to, sorry to jump in again, is before they go in front of the planning board, they have to back to this board, council has to approve this agreement, which talks about finances, but also talks about all the other amenities and things. So right now, Mr. Bach is kind of questioning some of the landscape package. Once that landscape package is squared away, council will get it and then approve it. Because you know they're hot to trot, right?
And the owners, yeah, the owners have, I have a floor plan here for the facility, what they're planning on doing. So they're moving forward, they're confident that we're going to work everything out with what our.
Do you want to share that?
I can, I mean, it's basically, the first floor is going to be, and we can all take a look at it. The first floor is going to be basically 2-bedroom apartments, up to, the largest ones are over 1,600 square feet. So that's a fair size 2-bedroom apartment. And then I only have the upper floor, but I assume the rest of them are the same. The majority of the buildings are going to be 1-bedroom apartments around 650 square feet. So I don't know how that,
Small.
it's tight, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how that sizes in with, like, say, what the Runnemede house apartment. So I don't know, I'm not sure. Just trying to get an idea, and then there's going to be a handful of efficiencies, but that's basically due to where the elevator shafts are and the rooms.
Some studios, I think.
Some studios, yeah, efficiencies, yeah, so.
Yeah.
But so the good news is they're asking me for some small measurements, like a couple measurements, so they're really moving forward, and they're confident in working with the town and with our engineering firm to get this done, so that's the main thing.
Yeah.
You had some,
And it's all market value.
Yeah.
you mentioned about the fence, the lighting, and the asphalt. Did they come back?
They pretty much agreed to all the things that Steve had suggested. It was down to, I hate to say, bushes and trees. So, and what makes this difficult, if anybody's been in front of the planning board, the planning board has these guidelines that says, you know, open space and landscaping and fencing and all this stuff. And even our ordinance has all these things listed. But this is an existing building, so it's slightly different. It's not like they're building from the ground up where we would sit here and say, okay, here's our rules, follow our rules. Had they decided to just open up as a hotel, there'd be no changes at all. We couldn't tell them to pave the parking lot, we couldn't tell them to put a fence up. But because they're going from a hotel, commercial use to residential, Steve was very adamant about there should be fencing to protect the residential from the warehouses, that there should be some landscaping to be more residential. And that the parking lot, because we're talking about residents living there, you know, potentially, how many units was it?
110.
You know, 110 people, you need to have nice parking. So this was the time, and remember, our financial agreement is very similar to what we did at the warehouse, saves this individual almost 50% of their taxes. So that savings is supposed to incentivize them to invest this money. So, you know, and their goal was to make money, so and our goal is to also, you know, get this property back in line. So, yeah, all that stuff is pretty much squared away. So we'll get a final drawings to us, and then this council will approve it. It'll go to the planning board like we've been talking about. So I will warn everybody, and because we're trying to help them out. If for some reason we need to have a special meeting, I will call us, and we'll do it at, you know, 5 or 6 o'clock, whenever we can all get here. And it'll be the only thing on the agenda, just to get that done. And the planning board has also agreed to have a special meeting to help them out. Because the planning board is basically just a public hearing for them. It's just a rubber stamp.
So we don't have to have affordable housing.
No, affordable housing is a whole nother animal. Affordable housing, there's a new
We're not
law.
required that.
There's a new law that has been
That's a
passed.
5-hour conversation.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're gonna get information from the state. Runnemede has always done sort of well on the affordable housing side. Bronson House has been a big part of that and things like that. But once this new formula comes back to us, then we can reevaluate. Think about it. Where are we left to build? We don't have that ability. There is some, I think the legislation does allow for some co-opting, like, since anybody's aware, Gloucester Township is building 3,000 homes right now, compared to our 92. So there's, you know, they're building another Runnemede in Gloucester Township. Were you just mentioning that? Did you say something like that? Downtown Manhattan? Was that your...
I just said no.
Okay, the lawyer. So there are neighbors.
Are there any restrictions about age in this new
Nothing.
market?
There's nothing been proposed to us. Remember, most of the affordable housing is because builders want to build affordable housing.
Right.
And towns don't want it. They use this not in my backyard mentality. They don't want affordable housing because it has this negative connotation.
Okay,
Which is,
so there's no age restrictions.
There's nothing else for you.
I mean, it's apartments. They're
It's just
market value
apartments.
apartments, that's all.
It's no different than if that hotel in its heyday was packed.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no real difference.
There's nothing different.
I mean, we're gonna get-
Yeah, plenty of parking, they,
You know, if you see one bedrooms, I don't think we're gonna have many children.
No, only a handful of two bedrooms.
You know,
I think there's maybe 10 or 12 two bedrooms.
Yeah, 660 is kind of tight.
What's the rental gonna be?
Not our issue.
No?
They did do a financial summary, that's where the numbers came from. There was a financial summary, that's where this pilot program came from. How much money they're gonna put into it.
Yeah,
They
the
said
pilot, how long?
30 years.
beyond our time.
You can renegotiate.
I'm not gonna be renting in 30 years.
Okay, sorry, Dan.
Yeah, no problem. And then, I don't know if you want to mention the phasal quarterlies and.
Yeah,
Is that out there?
it's public.
Yeah, so, I guess for the second quarter, phasal, brought in over $28,000 to the town. So the first quarter was 18,000 plus, and the second quarter was 28 plus.
Wants to bring the carrier stuff, we need to get that resolved.
Now, that money's not dedicated for.
Nope, it goes into surplus. It's unanticipated revenue.
And, yeah, so that's going well, and now they're looking to get into a courier service, which will be coming up here, I guess, pretty soon in front of us. Well, for
I
both
think we
places.
allowed that.
For both places.
Isn't
I
that,
think we need to amend, it's another amendment to our ordinance, I think we have to do. We should amend, I think the suggestion that's been talked about a little bit was, we've only allowed 2 retail.
oh,
Carriers, we should pair retail with courier. We don't want, we already have 2 establishments.
What do you mean courier?
Courier means they
Delivery.
They deliver.
Oh, that's what I thought.
I
Yeah.
thought we allowed that.
I have my mail today.
We do allow it, but as a separate license. And I think we ought to consider,
Oh,
why do we want to have somebody else just, we already have 2 stores here. Let them deliver.
yeah,
That's,
I thought that was in the package.
it's not, it's a separate license. We created 6 different licenses based on what the state did. And the state did. So we could do a courier, we could put the 2 together, change our fee structure. Beth actually brought that up and say, okay, well, if the chief has to do something or fire, we have an application, we have a standard application which says, so maybe for January, when they renew their license, unless they need to do it sooner, we would do a courier retail license. Here's your fee, here's your application, here's your criteria. Council approves
Now,
it.
would that be across the board or just for?
Just the
cannabis?
2 that we have.
Just for the 2 locations.
It'd
2
just be
cannabis.
for cannabis.
That's what we're talking about, just the cannabis license. So they want to buy a little, what is that, like an escape or?
Yeah, like a SUV or a van or something, and have people call in, and then they deliver it, they do the sale just like they do it now, they ID the person and then do the transaction.
They ID.
Now, the taxes all stay,
So if they deliver in another town,
right.
because the sale originates here, we get the tax.
they
So
can
that's
deliver
their point.
Audubon,
There's
and
a
then
lot of
we
towns
get-
around us that don't sell
Right.
cannabis. So if they're driving an Audubon,
Yeah,
we get that sale.
what we asked,
So they check them out before they do the delivery or when they get to the house?
it would be both, I think there would be some kind of a registration process prior to, is the way I'm understanding it, and then once they get to the location, they, physically ID the person. Like now, they ID you to get in the building, and they ID you to make a purchase.
Yep.
So you're ID twice,
And Patty, we won't allow this unless the state approves it first.
yes.
So that's why he's saying they have to get the paperwork to us.
Right.
They have to say the state has approved us to be a carrier. We're kind of in good shape at that point. If the state says you meet all the criteria, the background check stuff.
Yes.
All we're doing is saying, okay, if the state approved you, we're approving. That's what we did with the licenses.
Yeah, yeah.
The same as liquor.
Very similar. The only difference with I guess with liquor, you're right, nobody delivers liquor.
No one delivers it, but
Well, DoorDash you can deliver with.
Well, then the sale would stay with us though, because remember, we typically don't collect the sales tax. This is the first time. The only tax that we collect is a hotel tax from the Days Inn, and we used to get it from the Holiday Inn, and we get this tax. But everything else is,
DoorDash can get into it too.
we start taxing that. All right, what else you got?
That's all I have for now,
All right, so the other thing, Beth, we've got to pull this ordinance, and maybe we'll merge the courier with the retail, Dan.
Sure.
It'd be the same license. As long, and we'll just put a little caveat, they have to be approved by the state for both.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds like a plan.
No, Now, we're not in a hurry, but we need to get it on the
Yeah,
radar screen.
yeah.
So I'll note that.
Ms. Kelly, what do you got?
Well, as the chief said, we do have a resource officer, a new resource officer called Borough. What's his first name?
Rick.
Rick. He is a retired policeman from Pennsauken, and we interviewed him last week, and he was excellent. He's more than qualified to work with these young people that he'll be dealing with every day. And he'll be sharing his services with the 3 elementary schools. He's a delightful
And
man.
during the interview, Mr. Iannucci, Dr. McCarron, they were there.
No, I knew she was.
Iannucci.
Karen was invited, but couldn't make it. I
Yeah.
invited him too.
But Mr. Iannucci thought he was great
Yeah.
also.
That's good.
So, I mean, it was a very, very pleasant interview. And the gentleman is very well spoken. And I can't wait for him to start because he'll bring a different kind of vibe to his position. Where Harold was great, you know that. Harold was
Careful.
Howard.
Howard was great. But he'll bring a different vibe. It's going to be really nice.
Careful.
Yeah. So that's basically my report because the rest of it I'll give you next week. And that's it.
Sounds good.
That's it, Mayor.
All right, Ms. Pascal, you got it.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Okay, we have National Night Out coming up next Tuesday night from 6 to 9 p.m. Also, our council meeting will be the following night on Wednesday, August 7th at 7 p.m. So write that on your calendars.
Yeah.
Okay, we will not be meeting here on Tuesday.
So I'm going to miss my home.
No bowling for you, Mayor.
I'm not going to be here on that Wednesday night.
Okay, you're not going to be here on
All
Wednesday.
right.
Thanks for telling me.
Well,
I mean, like.
Looking forward to a well-run
Only
meeting.
10 minutes. We get 20 minutes, Patty.
Okay, so we're
So
not.
you get to run a meeting.
Okay, so I get to run the meeting. Okay, no mayor.
15-minute meeting. I'll be
Okay.
I'm out of town.
Okay, so, July 4th, it was a wonderful event. I hope you all were there. It was filled with lots of happy people. I want to thank everyone who made the event successful without any incidents. Our police officers, Public Works, Fire, EMTs, our Borough, especially Chris, our treasurer, who made sure that I had all my checks available to give out to our entertainers. So it was just a wonderful event. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Great entertaining.
Need more suits.
Need more suits for what?
Councilman.
For council, yes, white and red ties and blue jackets. Okay?
Yeah, I apologize, I'm not going to be here next week. I just realized it's on Wednesday. So you know, I mean, these are all, I mean, you saw what's on the agenda.
Yeah. Not a problem, Mayor. I'll try to get through if I can. I don't know. You know I
You
can.
do better than me.
You know I can.
Way better.
All right,
Yeah, that's getting
He
even.
said what everybody was thinking.
It's all getting even.
I didn't hear it. What did he say?
Way better.
Don't do that, because then you just never know what could happen. So, anyway, with that, I say progress, unless anybody else has anything they want to report, or they know anything else that's going on that I left out. Yes.
The townwide yard sale.
Oh, okay, the townwide yard sale is at the end of September. So
I had
that'll
people
be-
calling me already
That'll
about
be,
it. So
yeah.
I'm telling them it's the last weekend in September.
Yes, it is. It's a Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Would you
So,
ever think about, I mean, we tried it, it's been a while,
Okay.
and tell me no, because Beth is starting to do a little more on social media to help the borough communicate, and that's what we keep talking about, communicating. Do you think it would benefit this townwide yard sale if people somehow put their, if you had a
The
list of
list of
addresses?
addresses.
We did that one.
Not registering everybody, I'm not saying
We
register.
did, yeah, we did do that one year.
We've done it before.
Yeah, it was somewhat of a hassle.
I know, and that's why I
Because,
don't want to make
because
it
they
a
go
hassle.
on, because they go on at a certain time, they don't go on every day, they go on, say, once a
However-
week, and then they would call up and say, oh, how come my name's not on there? And it was just.
Stop it from the peanut gallery.
It was just.
Why are you giving me a dirty
It just wasn't worth it.
You know,
Hey,
you
hey,
can make it
hey.
up to me.
Okay, so let me say this. We do not charge to have a
No, we don't.
townwide charge. Other towns do.
Yeah.
We do not charge our residents. So I feel that for the $10 or whatever, you can put your own advertisement out, or you can put your own signs out.
The only reason I bring it up
I
is,
mean,
I see people driving around.
They do.
And I would just assume that if there was on our website or on the Facebook page where it said, you know, the 20 or 30 houses, and you could see that there's 3 on Third Avenue. That's all I'm saying. You
Okay,
know,
so we can have them, okay.
because otherwise we've got people
So
driving
we
all
can have-
over.
Wait, so we can have the residents who want to have a townwide yard sale come in, fill out a little application.
I'm not saying to do that.
Well, I'm just saying that. so
Is there
that-
another way for them to do it?
Rich did it, that's how long ago we did do that.
I mean, is there
And
any
Harry-
ideas on how to do it?
Can't you just have it?
Do you want to do it, Harry?
No, Rich threw it on me.
Huh?
Rich
Don't
threw it on
do
me.
it.
Huh? Rich threw it on you?
Yes.
Oh.
It's a lot of
You never
work.
told me that. And I know, it was a lot of confusion and a lot of work and a lot of phone calls. People were angry, it was on Facebook.
That's how I got
I'm not
stuck
on-
with the
I'm not on the
comments.
list, and you couldn't get them to understand that it was only once a week that you would be put on.
Right, so think,
So,
how could we,
you know,
I'm only trying to make it better
We'll
for
talk
people.
to other towns.
There's got to be a way to try to
You know,
help. That's all I'm saying. I hate yard
But
sales.
then, but you
Officially,
know.
I hate yard sales.
You know, like I said, we don't charge, and maybe we should charge, maybe we should have a fee.
Because a fee wipes, and that would bring them in so we can get their information.
Yeah, but that's no, I don't
All,
like it.
we're the only town that doesn't do that.
Aw.
So that is, and that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah,
But you always have
I
somebody
don't wanna
complaining about
charge a
some,
fee. Geez,
you know.
But they're not getting anything, Eleanor, that's the point though. She's saying the only way to get everybody's information is they'd have to come give us something. Now, the only other way to do it is an email to the clerk, and then the clerk would forward it to our website guy, or Facebook. Does Facebook allow for stuff? Could we do a Facebook? Maybe we're, all right, want to maybe try that?
Yeah.
You okay with that or no?
I'm okay with that.
Where people just say, come to this, but see, how do you promulgate a list though?
I don't know.
So I
Yes.
will say, if you're really serious about this and you want like a comprehensive list, they would have to register a month in advance in order to get that put together, because there's always gonna be those people who are calling last minute, and they're not gonna be on
So
there.
there
and
has to be
that's
a
when you'll get
deadline.
your-
So you don't know human nature,
And that's
humans
why-
don't do things
And
to the last minute.
that's why we decided not to do it.
And what I'm saying is, though, if they didn't meet that deadline, that's not on us any longer to say they can't get
And
upset
we're
that
not
they're not.
printing a magazine, we're just having a list of it. I mean, if I decide to have a party tomorrow night, I could get a list of 50 people and figure it out in one day.
It's not the same thing.
It's very simple.
It's an origin. No, it's not the same thing.
I'm sorry, I don't like yard sales, let's ban them in the town.
Would there be a way to just link onto it?
I don't know enough about it. All I know is, I know
Somebody
that,
has to put
I'm
that
sorry,
in.
Beth?
I know one of the things that we're going towards as we're doing the forums and all of
Yes.
that stuff. There are programs out there where people can just sign up for things,
Yeah.
whatever. We're not quite there yet
Oh,
because
okay.
we still have to research the software. Maybe that can be a goal for next year, since it's already July,
Yeah,
August.
let's table it for next year.
That seems like an easy.
Keep it free this year, no list.
The biggest
We'll work on it for
criticisms
next year.
I get, Eleanor, from people in this audience, is that we don't communicate enough. I get yelled at constantly, and you hear me now trying to do it. So, okay, so I don't want to hear that I'm not trying to communicate with
And it
everybody.
doesn't matter how much you communicate, you're still going to get criticized.
And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't.
And you know that.
I'm only trying to point out
I think what
that you
we
just
should
heard
do-
the clerk, members of council, public, everybody doesn't want to do it because it's hard.
It will never satisfy anybody, and it's not that it's hard, it's that we get kickback and we get,
Give them my phone number.
oh, you don't want that. Stop that. Stop that. I refuse.
They call me every day. I get called every day.
I refuse.
And they're a different kind of animal.
I refuse to
All
give
I'm
them
saying
the phone number.
is that
And who doesn't like coming to Runnemede and riding up and
I
down
read
every
the
street and say,
retrospect.
hey.
Now, they do it like you said, they chart, and they run an ad in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm. And you
And
can,
I'm sure people miss the deadlines. So obviously you've never been here for collecting taxes. So people wait till the last minute to pay their taxes. So
What are the dumpsters up in here?
I understand, but no, she's saying you have to have a tunnel 30 days in advance. That's not going to work. Nobody knows until the day before the,
All right, we'll think about it
that
for
they won't
next
even do
year.
it, because if it's going to be a rainy day, they're not going to do
well,
it.
I tell you, I
Pat,
grew up,
we
we
should
should
wait
wait,
till
I
next
grew up,
year.
we could all Runnemede
I
posted
agree
on.
with you.
Fine,
Wait till
ask them
next
to do
year.
it.
Because by next year, we'll have a Facebook page that'll be more active.
Okay.
Do you know that we're one of the few towns that puts our cell phone numbers out there?
You don't have to put it out there.
I don't mind.
You know?
No, I don't
Do you
mind.
remember what year,
I don't
what year
mind,
was
but-
it? We had, your numbers were switched,
Yeah.
Mike Griggs?
Yeah. That's why you get so
Mike
many phone calls.
Mike Griggs
Lots
is
of
getting a
other
lot.
towns-
And you know why I like the
He
phone
was getting a
calls?
lot of phone calls for
Because
Greg.
one of the things about, I'm not saying we live in a glass, this little glass bubble, this isn't group thing. We have to talk to our neighbors. You have to hear things. We don't, let's make it clear. I hate yard sales. And so I call my wife right now. I literally offer her money to not have a yard sale.
She loves it, she loves it.
But my point is I'm willing to do this for people and it doesn't bother me. I want to hear from Ms. Chaswell
Oh,
twice a day.
yeah.
And hear what's going on.
Good.
Only because I'm not a full-time mayor. So how do you know what's going on?
We're gonna do it next year.
It's like Facebook.
You of all people, Miss, I want it done tomorrow. You go down a few pegs for saying next year.
Next year.
I'm gonna write that down.
I
Next year.
agree. I
Next time you
agree
bring something up,
With our clerk, who
Next
said
year.
that by next year, we would be able to do it.
your clerk over there
Get the
owes me a favor.
software.
She will, but give us some
You
time.
owe me.
You're
So it's done right.
All right, anything else, Ms. Passiano?
No, Jesus.
All right, Mr. Farrell.
I just spoke to Mark, and I'm going to defer to Mark.
Okay, that's fine. Mark, you want to go?
No, I'll wait till.
Okay. All right, public work, Mr. Lawson.
Harry, what do you got? We'll talk about the Scout Building mainly first.
Ooh.
Next year.
Well, I'll talk about the Scout Building. Bob and I and Patty were down at the Scout Building today. I invited the mayor, got no response. But we were down at the Scout Building today.
You literally called 1 hour before you're going to go there.
A text. No, not even.
Yeah, I have a job. You're retired. You're
I
retired.
don't even have a job right now. But anyway, we went to the Scout Building, it's like 90% done. Got a little bit of, got some doors to put up. Some of the plumbing has to be done yet. A little bit of electrical work, not much at all. The kitchen, Harry's, Mr. Wozunk's dream is to get the building open by September or so, and then get the kitchen worked on after that. But have the general access to the building and stuff, and then go from there. There's a pad out front now on the side where the parking lot is. There's a nice big pad for wheelchairs.
Concrete pad?
ADA, yes, concrete pad. The parking lot, Patty was asking about that today. The parking lot's going to be enlarged and then going to have gravel in the parking lot. And then we'll work on the back. As the back door still needs a pad, a concrete pad out there, but that's down the road a little bit. But the building's looking, very finished. Harry's ordered doors, I think. Are you waiting for them?
Is somebody going to paint it?
It's been painted. Not the outside. The outside's going to be painted, I think, by.
I think the scouts, I think we've talked about the
Yeah.
art,
Yes.
the creative team working with the scouts to really paint it nice.
Yes.
Clean up the landscaping. It would be a great project.
Yes.
They need to do something. They need to
Yes.
put some skin in the game.
Yes.
And so the scouts need to do that.
It's truly amazing for what the building looks like now compared to what it was, and it is actually safe.
Send us all pictures anytime.
I didn't take any pictures.
Oh,
And also, the fireplace, it's not going to be a wood fireplace anymore, it's going to be an electric fireplace in there for the ambiance looking of it.
And the upstairs has to.
And the upstairs needs to be cleaned out by the scouts. They have to get up there before we can give them a CO, it's a fire hazard. And they've had 3 years to do it, and they haven't gotten up there yet.
Which brings me to this, I think we should give them a date that they had to have it done by, or, I don't know, but.
would you like to pass that on for us? Because one of your members of the creative team, right, isn't he?
Vince Denise, yeah.
Vince is on there.
That's,
Why don't we say, could he have it done by the 3rd week of September?
All right.
Is that good enough for you?
Because you can't get into the building unless that's cleaned out.
Okay.
And we can provide a dumpster.
The 3rd week in September.
It has to be done.
Done.
So we can drop a dumpster off whenever he's ready.
Well,
Correct, you've done that before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Full size, right?
Oh, I don't know yet. It's Caucus. I got you.
Figures.
So, anyway, but Scotland's come along, it's getting very close. It'll actually be done before my time, so that's very good. And, Mr. Wozon, what else you got for Mr. Sotero and I?
Likewise, girls softball is moving forward to the building with that. Got the electrician in there, getting ready to do some rafters and the drop ceiling in there. Talked to George, he has enough material that we saw today, left over from the Scout building, he'll do the flooring in there. Vanilla Park, just so everybody knows, will be coming up to closing the playground off for a couple of days. We have to remove the mulch and do some repairs down there on a couple of the equipment. So we'll be working on doing that. We're going to have the mini loader down there removing some of the mulch and all. It's coming compacted, we're getting too much grass. So we're going to be working on that itself. The bulk of Al's field, the field behind Deluxe, bulk of the material has been removed. Got a building today for the load, unfortunately $8,000. I am working with contacting a couple of contractors. We need some backfill, clean fill, and plus topsoil for that area. So we're looking to see if we can get some off of these construction sites.
Is that going to be a soccer field? Is that what that?
No, nothing yet.
Oh,
Just
just
no field for now.
Is the dirt at the sewer project?
I have to look at it, see if it's clean.
It's very clean, but it's very sandy. Is that what you want?
Yeah, we just need to fill over and then we put down
That would be great.
6 inches of topsoil and we're good.
Everybody's been down Davis Road, there's large piles.
Yeah, so
Very
if we get
clean.
the contractor to move it, or if we can move it, that's one of the things we're looking at that way. Earlier discussion you had with shared services, I just want to bring them up. Runnemede Public Works was busy this past week with our shared services with 2 of our other municipalities. With that, shared services are made to be equal pay and so forth like that, but the benefit for Runnemede was we were able to actually use some of our emergency contingency plans, put them in place to actually upgrade our skills of our staff. Now that we have a bunch of new people and so forth like that, Magnolia has a force main issue. We have to do bypass pumping down there. So with that, it's something that the guys haven't really done. The older guys of the staff have, so we got the newer guys. Friday night, we had a complete failure of the sewer system in Chislehurst.
Oh.
So we had to go into a bypass pumping down there. Couldn't find a fitting, had to make some calls, actually got a fitting in, so we're on that for 2 weeks.
So the entire town lost their sewer?
It's
Yeah. One pump station?
they have one pump, well, yeah, one pump station because they have a can that only services one house. So right now, they're on bypass for their whole town. So, without a spill. Without a spill. So, with that, like I said, it's more of.
Send them a bill for $8,000.
They're getting built.
Make up for the hair's a little big about the asphalt.
I heard that. Pretty solid.
No, I'm just saying, came in, I got questioned, where is it coming from, but we found a funding source, so that's taken care of. All right, so with that, other than that, all the buildings been maintained, air conditions are working, we do have a heater replacement coming up for Vanilla Park building. That did go out on us. That's got to be replaced out, unfortunately, it is an added expense. With that itself, I mean, like I said, we're working on some potholes coming up. We're getting some calls on that with the heat coming out with all the heavy rains. We've been monitoring the stormwater, working with all that, with the new reports and so forth. We had 2 inspections, and we fared very, very great.
How'd you do with the inlets?
On the inspections?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
There's a lot of inlets, you know, I do the job, I see a lot of inlets with a lot of stuff in them.
That we had to dive into when people try to run your work.
And then we clean it, and then we have the rain or that, and it comes back
Is that
over
what it
again.
is?
Yep, we've been out working on them diligently.
Because I was down at Gerace, and you know, the road's going to be paved down there, there's going to be curb in front of Gerace. And that inlet down there was, because there's a lot of water coming down
Yeah.
Leaf Maybe you're right, that's a tough inlet.
County.
That's their inlet?
County. Evesham Road's county inlets.
Yeah, but it's our town that floods.
We
You
notify.
want to let them know about that?
We let them notify. Unfortunately.
Well, they're putting curbs, sidewalks, all kinds of stuff.
Unfortunately, that inlet and the inlet that's right behind the walking path, or the, I past the railroad, behind the urgent care on Usham and the Black Horse Pike. It's a dead inlet. It's a ground inlet, it goes nowhere. There's several that we're finding on the county road that goes, and they're not connected.
Oh,
Aren't you supposed to perk?
It's just supposed to perk. So after 50 gallons of water, it's useless.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the box only holds that much. So unfortunately with that, we were trying to get them to connect the one there before they paved. I said no, and then down there on the end, that's when we had the meeting, we were looking at the stuff.
Well, they're pretty much done the design phase. As you see,
No.
so just so everybody knows, Evesham will get repaved next spring from,
And they're gonna put the.
Hartford always-
And they're gonna put a proper inlet?
we don't know, that's what we're just talking
I'd
about.
like to see the designs.
You know. I was talking more about curbs and sidewalks down at Gerace and an apron for him.
The inlet's not a big deal, Al. It's been around
All right.
So progress on everything.
Departments?
Also, I heard you mention that we're going to get cameras installed down at the Scout Building. We've got a little bit of vandalism down there. A couple windows have been broken from time to time in the new Scout Building. Kids throwing rocks. Just some little things go on down there. We're going to have cameras to cover the front of the building, side of the building, the back of the building, pointing toward the softball fields, the basketball court, to cover the whole area down there. Because unfortunately, some parents don't watch their kids, and the kids get down there and do some vandalism. Parents need to watch their children more.
All right, here you go. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, Parks and Rec, Mr. Shapiro, what's going on?
Let's see, softball is about to start off in the fall. They're having some practice coming up, meetings. They try to have a meeting in the building, just have it outside and around.
Were you at that meeting?
No, I haven't had that. Charlene, the president, just came back from her vacation, so she's just been talking about it, trying to get flyers out. Baseball for RY, I think they've done pretty much. They might start having fall ball, talking about fall ball. But that's about basketball's going good right now. I think they start training sessions in a couple weeks.
They're already in there.
They're already in there, the
They're already in
training
there.
sessions?
Everything's going good.
Yeah, for kids, so they're doing good. They're getting ready to do that on summer long.
Yeah, if you saw the email today from Maria to you about the use of the Harry Williams book.
I missed that.
Should come on to you.
Sure it did.
What in this spam folder?
I do need one favor. Since Earl donated that parking lot paving, does the ROI still do any kind of nice things, like a plaque or something that we
They
did?
can.
Did you ask them to do something like that? Because, you know,
Well, just.
it does benefit them more, even though I think it'll be used at National Night Out, right, and the overflow, but
I'll see if they can do that. I don't know.
if they could do something to thank them.
I'm not sure. I know they had a meeting July 18th, but I think their meeting might be some kind of.
Yeah, because we talked about it before.
We had, and I did.
And,
mentioned it, but
and I said something to the owner that we would get together eventually to get something done. Because I know we did talk about it from the beginning.
And the rest of the partners.
Okay. Does anybody, bless you, is it Father Rob at St. Teresa's, is that the,
Father Sinatra. Yeah. Robert Sinatra.
Rob, yeah,
Yes.
I got to meet him, he actually called me.
He's a cool dude.
He's very nice.
Very cool.
Very nice guy, and, you know, he stepped up to basically, I guess you guys have talked to him, so.
Oh, yes.
You know, he's reached out to me to say what he could do with the community, get more involved. And so I talked to him a little bit about St. Teresa using the gym. And just so everyone knows, our policy moving forward, and it's not always a good thing, it's, they book days, and then they don't always use them. And our new policy is, they're allowed to book their days. But once they book their days, they own it. And I talked to Father Rob about that. He says, that's only fair, because a lot of times it was canceled, and it causes a lot of problems. And we just want to say that, you know, that they're going to pay, because if they don't book the day, don't take it. We'll give it to RY or give it to some other organization. But we've always given them first right on those days that they've always had. So, right, Beth, this is something we talked
I
about.
spoke today to their athletic guy, Michael,
Explain that.
and I said, because he wanted additional days, and I said, because he wanted to know where the letter was telling them that they could have it for the upcoming school year. And I said I was waiting because he asked about additional dates, and I did tell him that they would be paying regardless, so he didn't think they would be using them. But it's not.
Don't book days you're not going to use.
Well, but they can't do the extra days anyway, because RYAA is already in there.
Yeah, RY is tough with the schedule. If anything, they want more days. So it's important for St. Teresa to keep the days.
So they're gonna, yeah, where they are is where they're gonna have to
Yeah,
stay.
okay. You agree with that?
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, the way Maria runs it is that if they're free, somebody needs it.
Well, if somebody cancels, but my point is that, you know, like you said, if somebody, they cancel at 4 o'clock, you're right, Maria can call somebody, but it's tough.
It's tough, it is tough.
They cancel a lot right at the last minute, which is not fair.
But St. Teresa's is aware now.
Yeah, but he was very nice, and, you know, events and things like that, maybe we can bring him to something,
He is nice.
which would be nice. Okay, was there anything else?
Sister Sandra, Teresa.
Solicitor's report, you must have something today.
I do have something.
All right.
Just most of the things we talked about in the, throughout this meeting. However, we did have the Pine Avenue auction that Beth and I attended. It was a rousing affair. The audience was packed 10 deep on each side and standing room only. No, not really. They had one person attend and he did not want to meet the minimum bid. So we are back to the drawing board on that one.
Oh my God,
What's that?
I'm just saying, oh my God.
Yep,
So don't answer any more calls, man.
that's how I feel.
Oh, I
We've
got
now put it
called
out
during
twice.
the auction, and I
From
used
me.
profanity, didn't I?
I will neither confirm nor deny any language that may or may not.
On speaker.
Yeah, confirm.
I'm scared.
So this whole, going down this rabbit hole, I mean, so my attitude, once again, I'm not here, I've never, once again, I don't want to be, nothing vindictive, I don't want to be construed that I'm trying to do anything vindictive. However, we are held to a standard and our residents have to be held to a standard.
Yeah.
So this piece of property that's caused all this difficulty for me, you know, we're going to enforce the parking laws, we're going to enforce maintenance laws, and we're going to do our part too. If we have to cut trees back, if we have to put a fence up, I want that shed removed. And I think you ought to get a price, or your men to put a split rail up there, because it's going to keep our property. Now, we might look at other avenues, but at this point, it's our responsibility. We have to take a minimal responsibility. To me, it's still open space. You know, one of the neighbors yelled because there's animals living in there. And I'm like, okay, there's animals living in there. So it's a little wooded area. So it can be considered open space to us, correct? It is open space.
Yeah.
It's not on our list or anything like that, but it's something that we can always use in the future. It's open space.
It's part of our acreage.
It is part of the acreage, right?
Part of our
It's not listed on our, it's not listed on our,
I think it's part of our total with it that we have X amount of acreage on.
Do you know about what I'm
on
talking about?
Parcels.
like when you list all your,
Rossi.
the Rossi list. You don't think it's on the Rossi list?
We could make it into, well, Pine Avenue Park,
Yeah, it's great. And,
clear it out.
so, all I'm saying is, we gotta maintain that, and it's not fair to any of the residents that the dirt fills in there. You know, you guys have to put on the cutting, just cut that little bit of grass, and that's it. And I'd like to see a fence put up, something. I want the shed taken down. If you don't take it down, I'm taking the shed down.
Ooh, and he
Just
will.
need a code official.
A police department can write an order. If that's all you need.
Just need them to give them notice for 10 days, and if they don't vacate from it, then we remove
So
it.
it's our
from the
property.
liens.
It's our property.
It's our property. We can't lead ourselves.
It's ours. It's our property. How do you notify us?
Do you notify the guy?
No, it's our property.
Okay.
Possession is 100% of the law.
9/10.
100%.
I'd rather give the guy the option to do it himself instead of us going in there.
He's known about it for a while.
So-
He's had we've talked too
You
much
wanna
with
remove
these
some
two
more, I
neighbors.
think, I'll have Nick Rich with 20 guys down there and take care of it. I just tell Nick to do it.
You don't need
That's
20
why I-
guys.
I know that, but I'll put Nick on it.
But the industry is not fair to keep it. It has to be kept.
I agree.
Okay, thank you for reporting that. So I was very upset wasting time on this. I'm looking at you. So
I tried that
now,
at the beginning,
You
and then
know,
all of a sudden showed.
no, this guy, tell me what he did. He showed up and he wanted to pay $1. And that's what the other guy wanted to pay $1. We have an assessor that said that it's a piece of land. It's 40 by
Yeah, we can't
100 by 80
just give it away. We have
It's
to,
got
we
an
have to,
assessed value.
we have to set it for.
You know, he wanted us to clean it, we actually were trying to be nice with the cleaning it up a little bit. And
We
then to
can't
show
do
up
less.
on the, after we advertised it
So Nick,
twice.
the guy that me and you talked to isn't taking it now?
Nobody's taking it.
I'm just really
He
confused.
came in the courtroom, we talked.
Yeah.
Mr. Long did a very good job explaining why it couldn't be $1.
Well, thank you. Checks in the mail.
I think it was advertised as $10,000 minimum pay.
Well, and also why it couldn't be anything else.
Right, we can't just give it away to somebody, right? I use the example of
Here's our 10,000.
giving John Ranieri a
Let's
party
give it to
gift,
the
here's
police
some land.
Yeah.
Like,
Where's the
Class one
property?
specials.
Where's this property?
You're damn special, man.
Where's this property?
On Pine Avenue, it's a dead end,
Up against Triton.
up against Triton.
Oh.
And when Triton was created, it must have created this little triangle. And it's just been wooded for 75 years. And no one's ever done anything other than the homeowners kind of, they encroach on it because nobody cares. People encroach. If you look at a map of Runnemede, there's so much encroachment in a wooded area, but nobody cares. And the idea though is it started with a resident who wanted it, and then another resident wanted it, and they just, for some reason, just don't get it.
I thought originally I thought we could do that, but then, the CFO got involved.
So the only thing you can give away,
And then it,
the only thing we do is vacate roads.
I don't,
We can vacate a road. So when we vacated part of Detmar, when we vacated the sidewalks, those aren't a lot with a block and a lot and a thing like that. New Jersey is, could you imagine we've given stuff away? You guys are criticized, we get criticized for other stuff. So, and this happens, everybody remember on Orchard Avenue, remember the gentleman at the end of Orchard wanted to buy that land to build a house for his son? You guys remember that?
yeah.
And we say same thing, Brian came up with a price, it was like half an acre. Can you picture it at the end of Orchard on the right-hand side, there's big trees, and he didn't want to buy it, so we can't give you a piece of land. If anything though, I will end this on, we do have to do some work on some of the land that the borough needs to foreclose on. We have the Central Avenue property, we have Bassett Avenue, we have the RYAA, and we have 2 pieces of land on Clemens Bridge Road. Those are little things we need to try to clean up. When you're done with construction,
That's nice.
you can
That's
attack those.
Who has the triangle down past Heritage
That's private property.
on Clemens Bridge?
I'm pretty sure that's private, right? That's private property.
You guys mow it though,
We mow it for me. It's
We put a lien against it.
oh, it's almost rough.
Yeah, but what happens to us is we've had people pass, and we're putting liens on properties, there's no estate, right? It's
Well, that's like the.
Central Avenue, we've been cutting Central Avenue since you've been here.
Yeah.
It's been 14 years.
The house that was torn down.
And we even paid to tear the house down. And we never got our money back. We tore the house down on Bassett Avenue, we haven't gotten our money back.
Correct, that's still leaning
Whose
against that.
garage is that also?
We tore
That's separate.
That's separate.
That garage,
We
that
tore a
garage is
different garage.
another parcel that's totally, that was subdivided and sold before, because I was like, oh, there's a borough garage for us to store stuff in. No, it's not, it's private, and they're up on taxes.
Engineers report. Dan's done.
Dan's done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I submitted my report in writing, email it to everybody. It's been a busy month, so I'll try to go through everything that's been updated since last month. The sewer slip lining project, we did survey out there near Reed and Phillips. We're trying to still figure out where pipes bend and not whatnot. As soon as we get that figured out, we'll be able to get that out to bid as far as the slip lining and the sewer and water. Orchard Avenue drainage issue, we did complete survey, we're starting the design of that, and then we're gonna have to get some type of easement, a utility easement from that lot 10, lot 4 to get the stormwater off of Orchard Avenue. The ADA bathroom addition at Harry Williams, we got our soil report back, structural engineer is coming up with the footing and the building design right now, and we are starting our plans. Also, as we get closer to finalizing that, we'll get together to talk about the sound system that we need to put out there and any other electrical requirements. The CDBG project on 2nd and 4th, we're getting ready to start construction. We did have a pre-construction meeting. We have an additional $45,000 available in the grant. So we're looking to do all the curb and driveway aprons on 4th Avenue. That originally we didn't think we had enough money to do, but now we'll be able to do those. The notice to proceed was for this past Monday, but I have not gotten our schedule yet, so that should be starting up shortly. Check that page. On page 4 now, the Harding Avenue and Payne Avenue project, the DOT 2023 project, is planned for construction. They got all their concrete flat work done. I believe paving is supposed to start next week. I have a payment application I just received, and that should be on on your bill list for next Wednesday.
They still have their signs up as the road closed. Not closed.
Okay. Better than not having the signs up when they were going to work.
Yeah.
Which happened the first day because their signs got stolen, so I'll let them know about it. And then on page 6, general engineering, the DOT application for Johnson Avenue, that was submitted, that got the resolution uploaded successfully, so
All by
thank you very
myself.
much. And Williams Avenue research, we need to talk about this. This is the 12 or 16 by 60 foot area on Williams, right side of the school. We reached out to Lambert to get a price from them. They gave us a price of $14,000 to do a mill and overlay. We also reached out to Earl because they're going to be starting a project. If we wanted to get it done before September 1st with school, it was going to be $11,550. If we wait till September, when they're probably going to be doing the 2nd and 4th Avenue asphalt work, the price would be $8,000. It's probably going to be 1 day's worth of work on Williams.
Better to do the work on Williams before the school opens?
Oh, yeah.
It's 1 day.
Oh, yeah.
Just 1 day? It's
One day that you'd have to have a detour here for 1 day.
We could also ask them if they could schedule not to start till after 9 or whatever your drop off time.
What do you guys think? I mean, your guys, I'm not down there. I don't see what goes on anymore.
Hey, can it be done before school starts?
Yeah, but it's more money is what he says. We save $3,000.
Well, we'll make whatever work. Let's just go with
You want to
it.
make them? Okay,
Yeah, we'll make
save
it
the money?
work.
Okay.
Yep, we'll make it work.
Okay with that?
So I will
I'll go down there.
I will incorporate that into the change order that we're going to do for 2nd and 4th. I mentioned we have $45,000 extra. This will not be CDBG funded, but I'll put it into the same change order. So hopefully that change order will be on next Wednesday's agenda, as long as I get my act together and get it to you in time. But I would like to get the resolution for Wednesday to approve a change order for 2nd and 4th.
Nice.
And if we could get an exact date from the school, we'll put something out.
Yeah,
for parents.
yeah.
So if you-
Yeah, ASAP.
Yep, not a problem. And then the road excavation orders, we talked about that, so that's already taken care of. Jumping to page 9, the sewer extension project on Davis Road. I have a payment application number 4 that I'm processing, so that should be on your bill list next Wednesday. I also have a document to sign, and that's, we have a $50,000 allowance built into the contract. We're using $23,000 of that for the mobile generators. So I just have to get paperwork to show how we're documenting that expense. And I'll coordinate that with you there.
How many photos of the sewer connections? So I was thinking about sending a picture out to all the homeowners so they could see what they'll be connecting to.
Well, we don't have a picture, but
I thought the contractor said he was taking pictures of all the,
I can get.
just so people know what they're dealing with. Because you've got the clean out between the curb and the sidewalk. And then you've got a stub coming out. I just wanted to kind of show them the stub.
Mayor, if I may, we have photos, so with that, we could provide a couple of photos.
It's something that we could maybe send a letter out to the homeowners just so they understand what was provided by us. Because they're talking to contractors, and I just want them to know what they're connecting to. And then I want to talk to our plumbing inspector and come up with how we're going to, because one of the questions I got was, could we dig, could the homeowner dig, set the pipe, get it inspected, and backfill all in the same day? You know, because you don't leave a hole open kind of mentality.
Yeah.
I don't know if our plumbing inspector would be willing to do that, or maybe there's a way he'd be willing to do it if we pick certain days or something.
Schedule it, yeah.
Schedule like that. But I want to be able to start telling people what is expected from us.
Yeah.
That they have to get a plumbing permit, that they have to, I still think they need a sewer application, even if we waive the fee.
Yeah.
That at least Pat or so goes out there and checks
Checks it.
that connection, right? Does that make sense? Because they're connecting into our line, and the plumbing inspector, unless the plumbing inspector can do both.
When we have the pre-con, the plumbing inspector will inspect from the connection. what
So
the
Pat doesn't
contract
have to
is.
go there.
So we don't have to do it, but you should have it on file for future records of when it was connected, who was the contractor,
Okay.
because it comes back to, if they have problems on the house side, who did the work and so forth, that's all.
But it's on the other side of the cleanout, so it's their responsibility,
Yeah, but then they
right?
always,
Because you have the cleanouts on the other side.
they always come back to the construction office, after the house has been sold twice, who did that work?
Okay.
I got a question.
Well, I guess then our plumbing inspector, we just gotta come work with him to kind of come up with a plan on how we want to.
See, and if somebody wants to require, if somebody's gonna do it themselves.
There's another,
they
there's
have to
another
request
option.
it, they request it.
Because people, I made it very clear, people have to get at least a plumbing permit. You know, so at least the plumbing inspector will go out there and look at it.
What was that CCMUA email that you had earlier this week about time and this, what was it, $6,500 or something?
So what they're trying to do is make it, so that's interesting, because that's what made me think about the letter. If a new home is built, our construction department is supposed to make sure that fee gets paid to the county. The county doesn't know if a house is being built in Runnemede.
Right.
So those 92 townhomes are 92 connections. So the county wants their $6,800 each for each one of those 92 houses. But it's our job to, it sounded like they want us to collect it.
Collect it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I actually thought it goes to,
CCMUA has their own.
yeah, that letter was written very weird.
Yeah, they said they
The money goes directly to the CCMUA, but we have to notify them, correct?
And then before you issue a permit here, you should have proof. that
That's what they're saying.
Oh, okay.
So the new house being built, these 92 new homes, they're not gonna get started, I think the guy told me they were gonna start doing construction not till
In the next year.
in the next year.
Yeah.
So before they're issued construction permits, CCMU, we need a letter from them saying they paid their 92 connection fees.
Okay.
And then Harry and Pat have to have 92 connection fees to our sewer sewer department, right? Correct. So, because remember, it's our sewer taking it to CCMUA and CCMUA is cleaning it. So 6,800 plus 1,200 is almost 8,000 a house.
Yeah.
So that's $720,000.
They're listed as sold, all of them sold already.
Because I don't think he's selling. I think he's keeping all 92 houses. The building. He's doing something in between the apartment building and a single family home. It'd be like me and Rich buying a couple houses and we just rent them. That's what I believe he's doing. They're all fee simple homes. So we allow for people to be landlords in this town. But it's not an apartment complex, because they're all single family homes. So that's what I believe he's doing. He has the right to do it. It's weird.
Where he's gonna rent
Takes away the HOA.
If that's how the way with the HOA, but then, and I guess he hires somebody to cut the grass and he,
It's one
so
person.
it's a way to get away from the
One
HOA?
person instead of 96 votes.
And so on that, but in that email, it did say about an extension too, the sewer extension, because that doesn't apply to our extension?
So sewer extension is down in Winslow area. They extended CCM way all the way down there. I didn't remember that part. I didn't read that far.
Yeah,
I only read that they wanted their $6,800.
yeah, when I read extension, I thought they meant for our project.
No,
Your fees are waived. CCMU are.
no. Our fees are waived.
Oh, wait,
Oh, you think those people might get confused who got the letter in our neighborhood?
not to that, I don't think that went out that way.
Oh, with us as councilman, yeah, so
Yeah,
as councilman, yeah.
yeah.
But your fee for this.
Was waived for 2 years.
That has been waived.
Well, I want to reiterate that point, because some of the residents have asked me, well, when do I start digging? I'm like, no, you can't dig until the pump stations are turned on.
Just a question.
Yeah, where's the
fee's
sewer?
waived, even though the fee's waived, do they still have to submit an application so they have it for billing records for the future?
Yes.
Maybe that's where.
So maybe we'll do an application for both CCMUA and us, and then you're 100% right, so that Beth can put that on as a sewer bill. You're going to have 100 new sewer bills.
Right, I know that.
But what Harry's saying is, you're right.
But it's
They
all
have
for
to fill
Runnemede,
out-
we don't have it for.
Well, you know what, when they do the
They have to
construction,
give us the letter
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
verifying the
You
CCMA.
can add that onto the
but
application.
that's the construction department has to do this for
Yeah.
us. Because we won't know if someone's connected, because there's a few homes that have already put new sewer systems in. Or
They're not
something.
gonna connect.
They're not going to connect. And there's some old timers who are not
They're
going to
not
connect.
going to connect.
So out of 100 homes, you're right, you might get 90% or 80%. So we're going to have to rely on the construction department to tell us. So we're going to have to make sure that Diane and Wayne know this. New homes,
Yeah.
you know.
And you could run the line and not tie in, you could run the line into your home and not tie in, or no? If you wanted to.
Why would you run it without tying it in?
You still need it without.
You still have to get.
Because I want to run mine before the project's finished, I want to get it finished in the fall.
How are you going to get it inspected by They won't give you permission.
Because you're not tied into the house.
We're not,
Yeah.
we're not allowing you to tie in, 'cause
I got you.
until the pump stations are up.
I got you.
We can't let you tie in, right?
Let's worry about my bricks.
Fixed income.
We'll drive down to Tuckahoe Turf Farms together. We'll buy some turf.
I let it go this
All
way, don't
right.
matter.
So that was the only thing I wanted to add. But if Harry, if you've got pictures, I'd like to keep communicating with everyone in that.
Once we do have the pump stations up and running, we probably want to put another letter out to the homeowners.
That they can tie in.
That they can tie in, and they have 2 years to do it. The CCFOA fees being
Yeah, connection fees,
waived. Connection fees.
not the month, not the quarterly. Yeah, yeah.
Connection fees are waived.
Now, I'll remind everybody, because you're right, they did send it to us as council members, the $6,800.
It seems like it's moving along pretty well to me. I don't,
Yeah, not too bad.
yeah.
I mean, until they start working on the pump stations, right?
The hard part is getting,
Do they have all the equipment yet? Because I heard that was an issue.
not yet, it's being put together right now.
Okay, that's why they haven't started the pump stations.
That's off the road. That's why, I mean, the road's a problem. Once they're off the road, who cares?
But they have to dig up Davis again.
Yeah,
You know that, right?
I heard that.
Yeah. And then they have to do
It's
it.
that's only 4 feet deep.
Oh, okay.
So it should be a lot
It's a
faster.
lot faster, they have to de-water. The hard part was getting the deep sewer.
Deep in the laterals.
On dead-end streets and getting all the residents around. Yeah, that was the big.
What are you talking about? Dead end streets, it's easy to dead end. There's no problems at all. Nothing. So my one neighbor, so this is my one neighbor, his gas line got hit by the guys. So he originally had brought all the guys water, like bottled water. After they hit his gas line, he went and took his water back from the guys. And then he texted me saying, "You've got to tell my wife she can't take a hot shower tonight because there's no gas in my house." So of course I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
That was,
Probably a mark house. That's not the guy's digging.
They marked out the one that was dead.
the dead one. Yeah, it was only out for a couple hours. So, did you have anything else?
That was everything I had, unless anybody had any questions.
Any questions for Mark? All right. Chris does a good job sending out the payment of bills. Anybody would like to make a motion to approve the payment of bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the payment of bills.
Thank you, Ms. Passio. Second by Mr. Lobenstein. Roll call, please.
Ms. Passio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
And Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Did you guys look at the PO list? She sent an email out today, and the PO list, she does a wonderful job
She does, she's on
keeping
time.
track of those POs. There
You mean
is,
open POs not closed?
what?
They were open?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but just the list of POs, you gotta look at it. And it's an amazing, keep it all straight. You know, these guys, uniforms, public works, also fire department, it's all these things. And the POs, the amount of POs that they're being generated is just amazing.
I did have one question for you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
South Jersey gas paving.
Oh, yes. Grass paving is starting tomorrow, we're doing an overlay of Ferndale, Forest.
Because somebody just told this to me today, and I didn't know you had gotten it resolved.
This is the older stuff, this is not.
Oh, this is the
This
older
is not
stuff.
Sherrington Woods area.
Okay. So we haven't resolved that issue.
That has not been resolved.
So they're doing forest?
Well, that was the original.
No.
Forest.
Forest is older, but we were saying, instead of them doing Davis,
No.
they'll do Sheridan.
My question on forest, they're going to be, when are they starting this?
Tomorrow.
They're taking out that speed bump?
Yeah. Once they do that, all the work has to take the signs down.
What did you find out about sending them a bill?
We have not got a response back from them in my email regarding changing the permit fees for the Davis Road yet, so I can follow up with that.
Do you want me to call anybody? You told me not to call anybody.
Well, we can, I can forward you that email and say we haven't got a response, it's whenever you want me to.
Yeah, send it to me and I'll
Okay.
call the government affairs person. Well, because it's only fair that we do something, just because they don't have to pay where we're paving. And what I'm really going to say is they agreed to it, and am I allowed to say it was a sidebar agreement, or is that going to get that person in trouble? Wow, they look at
It was more considered.
Can I say that?
It was going to be consider it. It was, and the
And now
answer
we
we got
consider.
back was it wasn't possible.
What?
It was not possible to do that. They said they cannot pave a road that they didn't test.
So why don't we make them pay what they're supposed to pay?
Well, do it now. We've got
I think
a
it
force
would-
main put that.
I would love to have a nice paved road on Davis right now. And, you know,
But we're gonna tear it up again. The force main on that.
they paved Evesham Road and it's gonna get torn up again. Did you see that in front of Coos Triton High School? They did it last year. Because the water company owed them the money. That's what Gloucester Township, the county called me about it. Did everyone notice on the Gloucester Township side that got paved? It's all gonna get ripped up. I wonder if that's their policy, that's why the county made it pave it. All right, I'm gonna call you, send me an email. All right, this part of the meeting is good and welfare. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is David Steinberg. I live in Brunson House, apartment 313.
Good evening.
Would you like to hear good news first, or would you like to hear the great news first?
Both.
Which one first?
Can you do
The
it?
shorter version.
Okay. The great news. The Runnemede Green Team has submitted to Sustainable Jersey as of yesterday. We got an email back from them already saying that the review will take place sometime between now and toward the end of September. However, they said if any reason we run a little bit short, they'll do whatever they can to help us.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we have it in writing from them. I happen to know the reviewer. I've known her about 6 or 7 years working with her. And if she says something, she's going to do it.
The team submitted 400 points for silver.
Yeah.
Yes, 400 points.
It's still tough.
But we only need 350. So if for some reason we get knocked down below that, then they're going to help us. But if for some reason we get knocked down and it's above 350, we got it.
Yeah,
That's the great news.
yeah.
A lot of really hard work was put into this. Eleanor helped. Certainly Kathy, I owe her so much because I can't tell you how many times she barked at me
Thank you.
and helped me to get back on track. Also Patty Adair helped, as well as Vince Denise.
Nice.
So we are one team. If we get this, we'll be the smallest town in New Jersey to get silver.
It's a big deal.
I want it
It's a
as
big
bad
deal.
as bad as you do. Because I wanted to say, we did it. So we got it in, we got to wait to hear from them. Once we do that, we'll let you know exactly when we're going to get it.
I just want to warn you, it's very tough to get silver.
I know.
Okay.
We-
Very tough.
Believe me,
Do not be disappointed.
your job is tough. Ours is also tough as well. So we know what it's like to go against, to do all the things we need to do, dot the i's and cross the t's, and everything we needed to get. So I want to give a thank you to the council for all the resolutions and the ordinances that you passed in order to be able to help us get there.
Okay.
That's the great news. Now the good news. Today I got 2 phone calls. One of the phone calls was from the National Park Service. We kind of got a little bit off track because they all of a sudden got real busy, and the person that we're dealing with apologized profusely for kind of dropping the ball a little bit. But we're having another telephone meeting this Thursday morning, 9:15, and Bob, if you can make that, that'd be great. I'll give you the I'll give you the other.
If I can-
I'll give you the information.
I thought my schedule, but if I'm available, I'll
That would be
definitely be
great.
here.
Rich and
Thursday, I'm in Atlantic City, I got a conference.
Pardon me?
I'm in Atlantic City on Thursday
Okay,
and Friday.
I understand you have, I understand both of you have other obligations, but I want to just let you know what's happening. If there's anything significant, I will let everybody know what's happening as far as that's concerned. The second phone call I got was from a group called Sister Cities International, which is based in Washington, D.C. They've been around since 1956, administering the Sister Cities program, and so the very first call is going to be this Thursday, 11:30. So if anybody would like to join, I think that would be a good thing. It's that they have a workbook, and I don't know very much about it, but there are over 1,000 sister cities here in the United States connected with towns and cities.
So I think you need to tell everybody what Dave's trying to do.
Yeah.
So you're not explaining,
I'm
so
like
Dave
lost.
called me about this, and this is if you've heard sister cities where obviously there's a Runnemede, England, and there's a Runnemede, New Jersey. And so Dave, I didn't think it's fine, he's reached out to this organization to see what it would entail for us to reach out to the other Runnemede, in the world. They're an amazing place, obviously. They're where the Magna Carta was signed, and it's a historic site out there. They're sister cities. They are sister cities already with other cities in the United States. So it would be interesting for us because of our name, which is very unique in them. So he's reaching out, and this is the first step to see what it would entail to reach out with the two. It's all done by the governing bodies. So this governing body and the governing body over there would agree to a communication and a dialogue. So it's interesting.
And there are a lot of steps involved. I don't know all the steps, but the way it was described to me from someone from Evesham Township, they have in Evesham, England as well. They said, first you got to hold hands. Then at that point you have to get up and up, you're going to kiss each other. After that you're going to get engaged and then marriage. So the marriage is when you sign
I'm not
the
getting married.
documents. I'm using a sense of alliteration, okay? I'm sure you can read between the lines. In other words, just because we might want to have it, there's no reason.
I understand. It is a part of that. Both
So,
communities, yes.
so we have to go through step by step. We're going to do that.
I think it's
So
neat.
the purpose of the phone call is to plan out what's next.
Yeah.
And then once we do that, then at that point, what we would do is reach out to the governing body, reach out to different organizations in our town, et cetera, and then determine, is this something we want to do?
It's definitely neat.
So I'm glad tonight to be able to bring great news, and I'm glad tonight to be able to bring good news.
Thank you, Dave.
I will let you know about the meeting as soon as I get the link to that.
All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, David.
Yes.
Mr. Steinberg,
Yes? Oh,
did you want to ask them about the pollinator presentation that you
oh,
want for
yeah,
next week?
okay. Yeah, one of our prospective members of the Green Team is someone who lives on 7th Avenue. He's a young kid, his name is Wyatt McCann. And when I say young kid, he's still in college, third year of college. And he gave the most amazing presentation to the Green Team. And he would like to give a presentation here next week. We'll also possibly to use the computer and the screen. It'll last about 5 or 10 minutes, probably not longer.
What's up to you, Ms. Passio? You have this
There
one.
goes our 10 minutes.
You want to do it then?
Hmm?
It should be a short meeting.
I'm fine with that.
You
Oh,
want to
are
invite-
all you
yeah.
fine with that?
Next
I'm fine.
Wednesday, Wednesday, not Tuesday.
Wednesday, yeah, I will let him know.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time, appreciate it.
Thanks, Pat.
Okay.
You can thank Pat.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no one else, is there a motion to close the public portion? Motion by Mr. Robinstein, second by Mr. Shapiro. All in favor?
Aye.
Public portion is closed. Is there anything else?
If you guys haven't seen it, go down and look at the warehouse. It is an amazing building.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine all.
It dwarfs someone else's building.
10 new trees down there.
I saw it.
Yeah, grass.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Robinstein, is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Murray, all in favor? Adjourned 7:39. Stiff in the chair.